Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Series, a month-long event celebrating the authors and narrators that bring romance stories to life. Listen along as Viviana, Enchantress of Books, interviews your favorite writers and voices, shares special guest posts, and stay tuned for some special information at the conclusion of the episode.
Hi everyone, today I have the pleasure of chatting with guest author Rina Kent. Welcome to Audiobook Lovin Series, Rina. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Just a disclaimer, this is my first podcast, so if I mess anything up, blame it on Viviana.
Guys, I'm so excited that I am popping her cherry.
Yeah, she convinced me. She's the devil in this.
Well, I told you I'd treat you well, so.
Yeah, it happens. So I'm glad she's the one who's popping my cherry.
Very good. And I'll be kind and gentle.
Yeah. As kind and gentle as my books go, if that's the case, then like. No. Okay, we'll go with that.
We'll get there. Yeah, well, it evolves as time progresses and stuff like that. We'll get there. Yeah. But why don't we start with having you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been writing, and how you got started.
Okay, so you mean the boring stuff, but here we go. So I think I've been writing all my life, but for me, it was only a hobby because I have such a creative mind, like I have all these stories jammed in my head. And when I go to sleep at night, I feel like I have characters talking to me and things like that. I think every author's story starts like that. They have voices. So I think I've been writing, like taking it seriously ever since maybe 2017. I've been writing some books and getting some feedback from critique groups. But at that point, I didn't really think about publishing anything. I didn't think my writing was good enough to be published. So I definitely have about 10 books that I wrote, but are never going to see the light. So let's keep it there in the closet with the bodies. So let's keep it there. And I started publishing in 2019, early 2019. And wow, I can't believe it's been 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it feels surreal that it's been 2 years. It feels more than 2 years. And I don't know, it felt like writing is the right thing for me, even though I have a different academic career, but I didn't think that was fit for me. I think for my creativity and for my imaginative mind, writing makes more sense. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was doing some research on you, because I do Google, I was surprised that it had only been about, like you said, 2 years that you were published, because it feels like, as you mentioned, like a longer time than that. And it's because your fan base is so big and so devoted and loyal to you. And you're also popping these puppies out a lot.
It has to do with that. Yeah, I love them so much. They make me feel like I have a purpose. And it's very, I don't know, I feel very accomplished as a person, that I have people waiting for my words.
Yeah, I think it's, just kind of says, because we always are our worst critique ever. And we're constantly saying, oh, it's not good enough, or why would anybody want to look at that or read this and stuff like that. But to have that fan base that's like, gimme, especially when it just got published and you're going, I'm sure you had that moment of getting those fans saying, when's the next one coming out? And you're going, today is release day, lady,
Oh my God. It happens all the time. Like my latest trilogy, it's a trilogy, of course, so it has cliffhangers. And the release day, I kid you not, I have posts in my group and emails like, when is the next book? And can you release it like today? And I'm like, guys, please. let me take a breath first. But I love it. I love their enthusiasm and
Mm-hmm.
their love. It's very accomplishing. It feels good to have them. Definitely.
Yeah, I know. It's when you write these duets or trilogies, and there's a bit of a cliffhanger because it's the same couple across all three books. And I know I saw that a lot of people were like, I want to hold off because I know the third one and final one is coming, but I just can't. And I'm going,
Yeah.
oh boy, okay. And then they're just devouring it, and then it becomes a waiting game. But yeah.
When you said a bit of a cliffhanger, I was imagining one of my readers who was like, I beg your pardon, it's not a bit of a cliffhanger. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. And they tell me this all the time. Like, I know my cliffhangers can be a bit brutal, but I can't help it. It's the devil in me. I have an alter ego, and
Yeah.
he
Well,
controls that stuff.
you could just also just blame it on the characters. You were saying that the characters, like they talk to you, you can just tell your readers that they just stopped at that point and are refusing to, move forward with it
Yeah,
until later. So that way,
I'm going to steal that.
okay,
Okay, I'm doing
totally.
it next.
It's like, dude, it's not my
I'll give
fault.
you
They just
credit.
stopped talking.
Yeah, they just stopped talking. Yeah,
Yeah,
they wanted to take a break.
Yeah, they just like not if at the moment they want to hang there for a minute, and they love to torture you. So it's not me, the author. It's you. It's the characters.
Yeah, they still love them anyway, so it's not my fault. It's their fault. So they could talk it out with the characters. It's
Exactly.
not
I
me.
I love when that happens too because the listeners and the readers get so mad and they're like, I can't believe she did this to us. And it's just this whole like anger. But then they're like, but we still love you and we want you to write more and coming when's the next one coming out? And I'm going, I just this whole like tittle tattle it's I love it. It's like, oh, I love seeing it in
Yeah,
readers.
I tried not to have an evil laugh. I'm really trying, Viviana. Don't make it hard.
It is a safe space. It's just us two. So no worries. You can just tell me, and do the evil laugh. It's okay.
Yeah, I can be evil. I
Yeah.
mean, I can be, but I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is a saying. In fact, it's like a meme now, and even a coffee mug about upsetting
Yeah,
authors to be careful because they will write you in as a character and then kill you off. So,
yeah,
um,
definitely. Yeah, it happens. It's one of our, coping
mhm,
mechanisms with people
yeah,
because we don't deal well with people
hmm,
outside. Most of us are introverts,
yes,
so we're not very social,
hmm,
and our way to actually have revenge is writing them into a character and killing them off. All the Karens, all the Sharons, all of them.
I may have to just try that. I'm not an author whatsoever, but I may start journaling and just write a scene where, X person gets hit by a bus.
Do it. You will feel so much better. I
Totally
assure you.
therapeutic. It's, hey,
It is, yeah.
yeah. And if anybody says anything, I'll
Yeah.
just say, well, Rina suggested it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going okay, I'll take responsibility for
yeah,
that.
it's just a
Only that.
journal. Yeah.
And then someone would show up on my door and tell me Viviana killed someone and Rina told her that. And I'm like, no, stop right there. I was only talking about a journal.
Exactly. No, no, yeah, no, I'm not nowhere near that level of realistic stuff like that. But man, sometimes the scenes that you guys write, it's definitely one that you can picture and things like that. So I can totally see how it would be therapeutic
Yeah.
to have these characters.
You get in the mood, yeah, you get in the mood very fast. When
Yeah.
you're in the zone, you
Mm-hmm.
can definitely feel it.
Mm-hmm. But the thing also with your characters in your books, the genre that you primarily write in is a dark romance. What is it
Mhm.
about dark romance, the genre that you love? Maybe just start telling us a little bit about what exactly your definition of dark romance is, because everybody has a different one. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if it were up to me, I wouldn't exactly call it dark romance
Mm-hmm.
because I would call it maybe gray because for me, I don't know. as you said, people have different definitions of dark, and my definition of dark is serial killers and I don't know, horrors to horror maybe, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe some people who get mutilated, or maybe captive romance. That would be dark for me. I don't think I write like the pitch dark,
Mm.
but because my characters are very psychologically different, and they're mainly anti-heroes and villains, it would fit in the darker sense of the romance, because you won't get, I don't know, the cute neighbor next door unless he's a serial killer, or you won't get or you won't get like a CEO whose only problem is getting laid unless he has relations to a serial killer. So it's definitely not it's not the traditional sense contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think many people categorize it in the darker romance category, because of the psychology of it. There are also triggers sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure to mention them. And there are also a lot of trauma, maybe, and things like that, that would make it more dark.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that draws you to that type of style of writing?
Oh my God, you're going to call me out. Uh,
It's a two-part question, love.
okay. I love it. I'm the first fan of this category when it's written well,
Mhm.
because I know there are some darker stories that go just for the shock factor, and I
Yeah.
don't like that. I want a plot. I want someone suffering. I want my main heroes and heroines to have the hardest time before they find their happy ending. So in a way, I like that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I like that. I like when damaged people get their happy endings. It's
Mhm.
very satisfying. I love it so much. And I also love psychology. So it goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. It definitely does. And I think there's also like having that anti-hero have that happily ever after. It's providing others hope that maybe the stuff that they've went through and they've gone through, they'll be able to have their own happily ever after. Because a lot of people think that they're damaged or they're not because they have a bad history, psychologically or abuse and stuff like that, that they will never find happiness. And some of these stories give you,
Exactly.
yeah, that you can. So that's good.
Yeah, for my book, Black Knight, this one was the most emotional mess I wrote. No kidding, like it touched me so deep. So, the main character in this book had an eating disorder, and she was suffering from weight issues, and she had suicidal tendencies. And the way that she rose above that, and how she turned to others for help and to the hero, um, was very, very therapeutic, even to me. And I kid you not, dozens of readers crying in my DMs, telling me that they related to her so much. They felt like they were reading about themselves, and basically they were thanking me for telling their story. And I felt so like I had a purpose in life, honestly.
Hmm.
It felt so good to make them feel good about things that they suffered from, especially since it's something that's happened in my life with people very close to me. And I think that's why I was able to capture the emotions well. So I like being that deep into psychological things that many people don't like talking about. I like that. I like being the uncomfortable person if it's to relay a message.
Hmm. Well, a lot of things sometimes I think society has labeled as taboo, and we're
Mm,
trained that things of certain categories, emotional, mental, are not meant to be discussed with other people, and
Mm,
then we're put in these individual bubbles, and we think that we're by ourselves and that we're the only
yeah.
ones. And then to find these stories where the plus girls gets the really cute guy, or the person that has a lot of trauma and has been impacted by things in the past, for them to
Mm,
see that there is, again, like you mentioned, a light at the end of the tunnel, is is also very therapeutic. And we don't get to hear that a whole lot. Usually they say romance is an escape. And yes, it's an escape. But I kind of like to see parts of myself in some of these characters, 'cause they're more relatable.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I put something of myself in every character that I write because that way I can relate to them. I can tell their story better.
Hmm.
So that way, when it feels authentic, it doesn't feel like I'm hijacking someone
Hmm.
from outer space or something. It feels very authentic. It feels very down to life, and I like that. I like that there is you can like give a message through books that you're okay the way you are. I always include these in my dedications, and I hope that it can reach someone and make the day better. It would make me feel so, so good.
Yeah, no, that is definitely part of this community, that one of the many reasons why I think a lot of us are so in love with the romance genre, and we are so avid readers and listeners, and we get to have book friends and share, recommendations and things like that, because of that connection that we have with some of the characters in these stories.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah. And so you've been now writing for 2 years in specific genre. Is there a subgenre of romance that you like to write and that you haven't done yet?
This is coming later this year. But okay, I can definitely tell it. So I'm writing an enemies to lovers office romance. It's not going to be dark, but it's a new experience because I never really wrote office romance before. So this is going to be a very fun experience. We're currently casting for one of the books, and we're having so much fun with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a very popular trope in one of the romance and things like that. And I think it's almost becoming definitely like almost a subgenre because of how popular it's become. And that's actually going to be was going to be one of my question, is if there a trope in the subgenres that is your favorite. Like the friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, office romance was listed as
You
an
don't
example.
even have to say it. It's enemies to lovers all day. I mean, all
I had a
day.
feeling. I had a feeling that that would be your favorite trope. I
I
wonder why.
mean, come on. I mean, the devil in me needs blood,
Yeah.
and that's enemies to lovers.
Like, I hate you. You're an asshole, but damn, you're fine.
Yeah, love that. Love that. I especially love the moments. I don't love the hate moment a lot. I love that, when they're transitioning
Hmm.
from the hate to love. I love that moment so much, so much.
Yeah, like something clicks, like they've just discovered that there's something that they have in common, or that it's more of a facade as to why they behave or do certain things. And that moment that it just, like, everything all the pieces kind of fall, is such a
I
moment
love
of
it.
like, aha. You kind of hear like the
Yep.
music go, whoa. But
I
yeah.
mean, it's definitely great because for me usually it's because they discover something about them that it's not what it seemed.
Hmm.
And I love it so much because the banter in enemies to lovers
Mm.
is ah I have no words. It flows. It
Hmm.
definitely flows. Like you feel like some demon has gotten a hold of your hands and he's writing the scene. It flows so smoothly. I love it.
Yeah, I will say that and admit it. As much as I love the steamy scenes in books, when it's a really well written banter, between characters. I love that so much more than anything else, because there's a creativeness and there's a almost like a magical thing that's happening in those moments of banter, and it's just like, wow, great
Yeah.
conversation,
I
people.
mean, yeah, it's and I'm going to ensure that great banter comes like you don't even have to think about it. It just
Mhm.
comes so naturally. Like this character says this and the other says that, and there is no dialogue tag. There is nothing. There's just two people talking and having fun, and you feel like you find yourself smiling or cursing the hero because he's an a-hole, and things just go from there, and it's definitely amazing. And it's even more amazing when that banter can turn into a steamy scene, or
Mhm.
in this steamy scene. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, when they're in between kissing and they're like, "I really do hate you," and then they're making out again, and then like, that thing that you said that was really big of a fucking asshole move of yours, and then they're making out again. It's hilarious. I love it. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, yep,
yeah.
it's definitely one of my favorites.
hmm And just in case you haven't picked up on this, you just said a hole. I'm like, girl, you can say asshole. It's okay.
I like a-hole.
That
A-hole is cute.
well, okay, now we know that there are certain words that you're like, ooh, it's a curse word, but it's cute this way.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, we all have that stuff. I mean, there's moments where I'm like, fudge, and they look at me like, are you feeling okay? I'm like, it's cute in the moment. This was fudge, you know?
Yeah, it happens. It's
Yeah.
definitely cute.
Or the fuckery of it all. Fuckery.
Yeah, I have that, but not in the English language. It's when I speak in French, I always make the curse words something cute. I don't know why, because French is cute.
Okay, so you speak French.
Yep, I do.
I did not know that. Cool. The only French words I know are oui and some culinary stuff because of my culinary background. That a lot of stuff is in the French dialogue because that's where cuisine was born. So, what
I
other?
mean, cuisine or kitchen,
Yes.
they're very close together.
Yeah. What other languages do you know? I'm curious.
Okay, so the languages that I speak fluently are English, French, and Arabic. And I'm not very fluent, but I can speak Japanese and Italian too. I know some Chinese, but I'm not going to claim that language yet.
Mhm. Wow. Italian
Yeah,
is on my bucket list to learn.
Italian is one of my favorite languages ever. It's such a masculine and angry language, especially when you speak with your hands. And I'm
Oh.
speaking with my hands right now. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very satisfying to speak Italian, honestly.
Yeah. I understand it because I'm bilingual, and so mine's is English and Spanish. And so a lot of the Italian base is comes from some Spanish words, so I can understand it.
Yep.
Same thing with like Portuguese, I can understand it. But
Mm.
yeah, and I totally get the whole talking with the hands things being Italian Sicilian background on my end. And I'm constantly having to like bring it down a notch because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my God, you should walk in Italy and Sicily, and
Mhm.
you will see like it's very beautiful to look at. I love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get that with the Spanish and the Italian. I was going to take on Spanish too when I was in high school,
Mhm.
but I took Italian, and me and my friends who took Spanish would talk sometimes, and it's very close, but not really. But I remember that the one thing that we had in common is in Italian we say cucina,
Mhm.
and in Spanish they say cocina, I think, or
Yeah.
cocina.
Yes,
Cocina.
you're loving how you're adding the Spanish theta in the
Yeah, yeah, we do
cocina.
that.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, no,
I
I
love
do
I love
too.
the Spanish. It's very beautiful language too. I wish I can learn it someday. It's on my bucket list, but I
Yeah.
have a lot of languages on my bucket list, so we'll see.
Well, yeah, the language is just so beautiful. There's so many different ways to communicate. And I definitely think that as great as the English language can be, there's just so many different ways to say certain things in other languages. Like there's 5 or 6 different ways to say how you feel about a person in a loving manner.
Mm.
Like in Spanish, from I like you to I love you, but not a whole lot, but I love you. And then,
I mean, you should see the endearments in French. Oh my God, there's so many, so many.
mm,
It's like I had to choose for one book because I had a character who was half French,
mm-hmm,
and I couldn't, but I settled with Mabel because
mm-hmm,
it's very like it speaks of his character, but
yeah.
I had to throw in some things there with his mother, and it was very satisfying to insert French. And I
Mm-hmm.
do plan to write more books with French characters in them.
Yeah, no, we're suckers for accents, and seriously, it's one of those things when we discover that an author is doing a book and has a French character, and we're going, ooh, who's the narrator? And then we're going, oh, they do a great fill in the accents, kind of a thing. So that's definitely something. It's just exotic and it's just different, and we tend to gravitate for things like that. So yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
happens. I mean, most of my books have a British accent, and I have one with a Russian accent.
Hmm.
So Shane was doing the British and Jason was doing the Russian, and people were like head over heels. And they're like, please write more Russian and please give us more British.
Yeah.
We're just,
I
we
think they
want
were
accents.
yeah. Well, I think they were also saying please give us more Jason Clark and
More Shane East,
East,
yes,
yeah.
definitely.
They each have their own fan base, and it's just one of those where I love it because I see how the narrators have brought readers to discover new authors because of the books that they write. And one of
Yep.
the things that I popped up, I was like, "Oh my god, Jason Clark is narrating one of Rena's books," and there's like, "Oh!" It was like huge, round of applause, and they were so excited. For an example, when that stuff first came out, that he was doing that, and I'm like, I love that feeling, that
Yeah, it's
excitement.
it's very it's very satisfying because I feel with my readers and those for instance Shanice or
Hmm.
Jason Clark, and I feel like, oh my God, Rina is going to make them narrate dark characters. Yes, please, villains, please. And I always joke like I love bringing the readers to the dark side because yes, I do love it. I'm not going to deny that. It's very nice, but yeah, I check with them first about the content, and then
Hmm.
if they're give me the green light, then it's on, baby.
Yeah, I think that there's a thing going on with Shane about the different types of characters, like the vampire Shane, the dark Shane, and stuff like that. And it's been to see the fans kind of fall and go and then start using that hashtag. Oh, it's the dark Shane, you know.
I love it.
The
And for
brooding Jason
Jason
Clark.
too.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
usually we go, oh, it's the growly Jason. We like the growly Jason, just letting you know. If you did not know that, we love him growly. So
I mean, that's why I cast him because I love Growly Jason too, honestly.
oh,
I'm
see.
with you.
Yeah. And so you are a fan of audiobooks in general.
Absolutely. Okay, so due to my schedule, because I have very tight releases, and I release basically every other month or every month.
Mm,
So I don't have time to read. That's the
mhm,
downside of it. So to actually read, I have to listen. And I started listening to audiobooks maybe 3 years ago. I think, but not constantly because I could read at the time. But ever since my schedule got so packed, I had to listen a lot. Like now, I listen when I'm doing like some shows or having a walk or something like that. So because of that, I discovered many favorite narrators, and I'm just going to keep casting them for all of my future books.
I love that you're a fan too. I know that sometimes it's hard and authors to be able to listen to books or read them because they want to make sure that nothing gets brought over to their own writing. Um but it's also
Mhm.
just endearing that you're just as big of a fan of audiobooks as we are.
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely am a big fan, but I do actually relate to the writers who said they don't want to listen to other people's audiobooks because
Mhm.
I don't listen to only romance audiobooks. I only listen to those in my downtime when I'm not working.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the middle of writing a book, I usually just listen to nonfiction, and I'm in love with war
Mhm.
audiobooks, like things that talk about war or strategy or things like that, or thrillers or psychological books. I listen to those.
Mhm.
But the romance, I needed like, oh my God, I finished a book. I need a dessert. And that would be an
Yeah,
audiobook.
I was just about to say it's like a reward for finishing. You're like, done, I need dessert. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely an audiobook.
Hmm. With the schedule that you're currently having of having one book release every other month, where do you get the ideas for your books?
It's not very hard to get ideas because I get slammed with them all the time. No kidding. Like last night when I was going to sleep, I plotted in my head because always the plot starts in my head.
Hmm.
So I plotted like two books and had an idea for two more. It's that easy to have that idea. Like he can be this and she can be this. This is her background. This is his background. What makes them click, this, and how will the story go, what's all the tropes. It comes so easily, but actually putting them into writing is the hardest part, and that part takes more than the plotting part. I always get ideas, I kid you
Hmm.
not, like I have made maybe 20 books waiting in my head, a lot of voices, a lot. So we'll see which one will win next.
So it's a matter of who's the loudest and who can get to the front of the line then, huh?
Definitely. Yep. And it's usually the darker one. They're they're the a-holes. Yeah, they're very dark. The darker ones have the loudest voices because um they're very alpha and dominating, and they
Mhm.
just want their story told. And they have guns usually. So I listen. I'm a good girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely make me listen to them more. Be like, the rest of you need to step back, prioritizing the guy with the gun and who happens to also be an alpha and hot as hell. Thank you.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's exactly what happened with the duet with Shane, where he played the assassin. I
mhm.
was like, "Hey Shane, I have an assassin who wouldn't shut up. Would you play it?" And he was like, "Okay, cool." I love how I'm always giving him these ideas, and he's just, "Okay, cool."
It's like I'll add it to my schedule.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. He's like, okay, yeah, that's a good one. Assassin done. Um, I sometimes wonder if the narrators have like a running list of types of characters just to kind of say I've done the paranormal stuff. I've been a werewolf. I've been a shifter. I've been a vampire. I've been a cowboy. I've been this and that mafia. Office. That probably has a lot of them. A lot of offices, probably billionaires and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna have to ask some of them. Like, so hey, do you have a running list?
They probably do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who knows?
It would be fun.
Yeah, I'll let you know what they say.
Yep. Yep. Let me know.
Yeah. So once you have the plot and the ideas down, how much do you plan a book before you actually begin writing it down and like do you know what the main twist is going to be on your first draft, or is it something that just, as I mean, how is your writing process basically?
Okay, so I told you that the idea would pop in my head
Mm-hmm.
like a few months before I start writing. So I usually let ideas sink in there, like they fester and they start talking and they start hitting and throwing tantrums. And then I'm like, okay, I sit down, I do my schedule, and I have this book that's currently out. So we're going to tackle the next project. I usually write a handwritten outline. I write my outlines by hand. It's not very long, about 2 pages, 3 pages long, maybe. And in that outline, I basically talk about the characters in on paper, because I talked with them in my head and now I have to translate that into action basically. After that, when the outline is finished, I am good to go to the writing stage. Usually my plot twists come between the outline and the writing stage. So usually I know the plot twist before I start writing and I foreshadow to it. Sometimes, though, it happens after I started writing the first 2 chapters, maybe. So my thinking process is I'm very good at connecting dots. So whenever something happens, I need to find the link between them. It happens very naturally to me, and it's very important because if there is a link between something arbitrary and something else it appears arbitrary on the surface, but it's not, then it will make readers, there's
Mm-hmm.
something there, but they don't know what is it yet. And then the twist will hit them out of nowhere. And I have many raging readers who don't like my twist. It was like, oh my God, I should have known this. How did you do that? I really don't know. I have many of my betas and my readers tell me, how do you come up with these twists? And I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to ask the doctor to do a brain image next time so you can see for yourselves. I really don't know. But the writing process is very intense for me, very, very intense. It's about 2 to 3 weeks of constant writing. Like, I'm the type who, when is focused on something, I forget to eat, I forget to sleep, I forget to do anything until that project ends. So 2, 3 weeks of constant writing every day from 8 a.m. to maybe midnight or 10 p.m. And
Wow.
sometimes I have to set like an alarm to
Mm-hmm.
get some food because I completely forget about it. And but I know that's not very healthy. So sometimes I just walk out of the office and go to take a walk by the lake. I have a lake near me,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me feel more at ease and not stressed, because I'm the type who, once I started something, I have to finish it. I can't leave things unfinished. I'm a very, very annoying perfectionist. Let's leave it
Well,
at that.
it's not your it's we'll see here. Let me help you. It's not your fault. The characters are actually, they continue to be like, no, 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 this has to be done. So again, blaming the characters. Um
let's flip. Let's
flip
let's
the
do
script.
those suckers in.
Yeah.
It's their fault.
I mean, there's just so demanding.
Yep.
8 a.m. to
Yeah.
midnight, no breaks. Come on. It's like, seriously.
I mean, and one more thing, I would dream about them. So even in my sleep, they don't leave me alone. Like, I do dream about my characters when I'm writing them all the
Hmm.
time. And sometimes even before I start writing them, those are the loud characters that I don't mess around with.
Hmm.
So when I sleep, I for me, I sleep just to rest, because I have to wake up tomorrow and pick up where I left off. I don't sleep because I want to sleep. It's because I have to, if that
Wow.
makes sense.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. So I hope that you're setting up those alarms on your devices. I was about to say the name
I
of
do.
the girl one, but I have one next to me and I'm like, I am not going to activate them at this point.
Yeah, I do too. I'm
Yeah.
not going to activate that too.
Yeah, it's like
Better sleep.
yeah, exactly. It's like so and so remind me at 3 that I have to, I don't know, eat something.
Yep. Especially since I put my phone on focus mode, so I don't access any social media. I don't access my phone, anything. Even my smartwatch would be sleeping, and I'm like, leave me be. Because I'm the type when I'm in the zone, I
Mhm.
can write very fast, and I can, um, like I said, I let the cat to talk. I feel like I'm their translator sometimes.
Mhm.
I'm just they're me in a sense. So I can't be interrupted, because if I'm interrupted and I lose the groove, then it will be a long time before I get back to it again.
Yeah, it's amazing when it happens when you're in that groove and things are moving fast. And I think I need to get better at putting my devices on that away mode because I'm doing some graphic work or I'm doing something, I'm getting ready for things, and it's like I'm in the zone, and then all of a sudden I get a notification that so and so has just
Oh.
uploaded a video on TikTok, and I'm going, ooh, let's see what they
Oh yeah.
did.
Yep, that's why. Yep, I get that.
Yeah,
That's why I put it on a focus mode like all day
yeah.
long. Like,
Hmm.
and then at night I would check it and see if I have messages. But
Yeah.
usually when I'm in the zone, and when I call it the cave, because
Yeah.
even my assistants and my publicists, they barely get a hold of me, even though they have my number and they can message me. I'm like, guys, I'm writing, and they're like, ah, okay, okay, see you in 2 weeks. We just wanted to check about this. So yeah, I would answer like work emails
Hmm.
late at night or something, but the moment I wake up, I'm just down there writing, and that's it. That's
That,
how I release fast. I just write from 8 a.m. to midnight.
wow. Yeah, that's a lot. But, the way that your
Yep.
voracious readers and listeners are, yeah, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, if the story flows, then you just have to write it,
Hmm.
or else you will just lose the muse.
Yeah,
And me and my muse are currently best friends, so I'd like to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
that's true. I was actually going to ask you, have you ever had to deal with writer's block, or when the characters have started telling you this really interesting story and then they're like, fuck off, and they walk away? Have you ever had to deal with that or not yet?
I did have a writer block, but not because the cat has walked away, but because an arc was finished, and I struggled to take it from that arc to the next one. And
Mm.
I had a major setback there, because I didn't plot it beforehand. And when I don't plot it, it can get very messy. And I
Mhm.
don't like messy perfectionists, remember?
Yeah.
So so it took me like a long time to get it back. But when I finished that project, it felt I felt so accomplished. That
Mhm.
was very, very nice. It was one of the projects that I'm personally proud of,
Oh,
definitely.
that's good. I know writers, and authors tend to sometimes struggle with that situation, and everybody handles it differently, and it's always kind of interesting to see how they handle that. But I'm glad that your muse and your characters have been very kind to you thus far. Um,
Yep.
because I'm sure you would
Mostly.
write them. Yeah, you would probably write them in a book and kill them off or torture
Yeah,
them very well.
definitely. Well, they torture me in return,
Oh, yeah,
so I think we're we're
your turn.
equals.
Yeah. What type of scene do you love to write? Is it the
Oh,
banter? Is it the steamy scenes? Those
mm,
the ones where there's a plot twist? What's your favorite that you're going, ooh?
definitely, definitely the plot twist. But I'm going to say that when I first started, I used to think that sex scenes, they're not really interesting. I don't know. why am I writing this? And then suddenly they became one of my favorites ever. I think it's because I love writing hate sex, when the characters like hate themselves
Yeah.
but want they hate each other but still want one another. That's very, very fun to write. I can't tell you how much that's fun to write. And it feels different and it's not monotone. I think it's because the reason why I didn't like writing sex at first is because it felt monotone. But now I can add some hate, I can add some dirty talk. I do a lot of dirty talk and I love it. And I can add like some kinky stuff, not so kinky, but just, something to get the juices flowing.
Spice
And
things up a bit.
Yeah, it's become very fun to write sex scenes now. I love it, especially when it's charged, when the chemistry is off the charts and there's so much banter and oh my god, they're finally doing it. And that one is very, very good to write. But I think my favorite scenes to write are about mystery and suspense and plot twists. I feel very evil at the moment and I love it so much.
And on the flip side, what's the scene that is especially difficult for you to write?
Okay. I would say any mushy scenes.
You are evil. No.
Oh my god. It's
When
out
they're
in the
being
open,
cute.
people. No, well,
And
I don't know.
nice.
I feel like I don't like nice, Viviana, okay?
I'm learning.
Okay, so the mushy scenes because I feel like I have too much sugar in my mouth and I don't like sugar. So I don't know. It doesn't feel natural. I think for me as a writer, I am a very intense writer. So I do well in angsty scenes, in sex scenes that are charged. I do well in action scenes and even in scenes within a family or an organization where they have a fight and everyone is like bringing it on. I love those. They're one of my favorites, right? But mushy scenes and cute scenes, I feel like, oh my god, what am I doing? This is not what I signed up for.
And the funniest thing is I'm picturing some of your characters right now saying, I think I know I figured out how to fuck with her.
Oh my god, they gotta do it.
When she's sleeping, we're
They'll
gonna come
be
up with some
like-
of the cute fuzzy stuff to see what she reacts to.
They'll be like, okay, Rina, I'm not going to talk to you anymore unless you write me a cute scene. And I'll be like, what?
You fucker.
You asshole.
Yeah,
For real this time.
Yeah. Oh, she used the whole word, people. She used the whole word. Yeah. And I can still see the characters in the back going, ha 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 ha.
I mean, I feel like my characters can't be fully nice, but they can be like sometimes nice, like especially for my men. I call them my men, don't judge me. So
Okay.
especially for
We
for
do the
my
same
men.
thing.
Okay, so I feel like they're only nice with the women they love. So that's very satisfying too. Like he would burn the world, but not her. Like he would kill everyone, but not her. Like I had a scene in one of my duets that Shane and Vanessa Edwin narrated to perfection. I love the performance in that one. And there was a scene where he was like, people kidnapped her and were about to assault her. And he came to save her. Well, she saved herself first, but he came after. And he was like holding every man and says, did this come touch you? And then he would shoot them all. And it felt so good. like this is me. I love it. I love it so much. I love scenes like that.
Yeah, it's one of those like,
They
oh, he's
make
so
me
nice. He killed him for me.
sweet.
It's a
That's
sweet.
sweet for me. If anyone ever asks me what's sweet, I would tell them that's sweet.
Yes, yes. When he's beating the shit out of the asshole, of the other asshole. For me, that's
Definitely.
just so sweet.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely I think we all have different definitions of what is kindness and what is sweet and mushy and things like that. And there are some that are like so sugary and you're going, no, no, that's just so
It gives me
fake.
diabetes.
Yeah. It's those moments when they do something out of their ordinary, like I think that it could be the equivalent of when the significant other vacuums in the house without you having to say anything.
Yep.
Those moments of things like that, when they saw that there was a roach and they got rid of it without you having to go, oh my God.
Yep. I mean, even my readers are kind of used to my characters who are dark and aloof and villainous, basically. So in one of my recent books, when the main character gave birth and the hero would not let her wake up in the night and he would take care of the baby, for them, that was the epitome of sweet because, oh my God, he let the woman actually sleep.
If you
So that's definitely sweet.
take notes, gentlemen, take notes.
Yep. I mean, he's a mafia man, but still takes care of his child.
Exactly. It's okay. He leaves the work outside the house.
Yep.
And that's important to do regardless of your career choices.
Yeah, it's the sweet side. That's very sweet to me.
Mhm.
That's when I say sweet. That's something sweet. Like when my characters even like cook for their heroine or take her to places she wanted to go to. It's the little gestures that count, not the big mushy things.
Absolutely. And I'm that girl too, that it's like I much rather you be quote unquote romantic and loving and stuff like that by bringing me the sandwich because you know that I'm not going to stop working, but I need to eat and stuff like that. So totally get it.
Yeah, exactly.
We touched on it a little bit beforehand regarding the anti-heroes and why you like kind of like creating these characters, or actually they come to you.
They definitely come to me.
Yeah. We did ask your reader group and Jason Clark's group to submit some questions that they have. And that was one of the questions that came up, was about the anti-heroes and the purpose of writing anti-heroes. But it was this mark that she said, it was like, but making us, the readers, fall in love with them. That kind of go, ooh. As you're writing these characters and you know that they're being the anti-hero because, again, the type of career choice that they have, or they're not your typical good guy, do you have those moments of the readers are gonna love this?
Okay, so I told you before that I'm also a fan of dark romance, the good written type. So I when I'm writing them, I also feel like I'm a reader myself. So if I liked something and I was like, ooh, this got hot very fast, I'm sure that readers would react the same because I'm putting myself in their shoes because I'm them at that point. I'm just like satisfying their the way they love their heroes. And I know like we're sort of I wouldn't say like we're little because many people love like dark romance, but we're sort of a niche maybe. And we love each other so much. And we love giving each other all the dark heroes goodness. It's very satisfying to be the one who gives them something that we both relate to.
That is, yeah, I think that this is something that we definitely appreciate, that the authors provide us, the listeners and the readers, when these stories are written. But at the same time, we also see those your posts as an author when you're going, haha, and we killed the main character, one of the main characters, and we made them cry, like, and them being characters. I'm like, y'all are bad.
Like I have an author friend who has a mug that says drinking my readers' tears.
Oh,
And I'm
see?
like, oh my God, you're the devil.
And I love you.
We're best friends.
Yeah. You talked about how the characters come to you and things like that. Is there a character of yours that you connect the most with?
Oh gosh, this is hard. Okay, so I think so. I don't know if this would be a surprise, but I connect to my male characters better than I connect to my female characters. It's not that I don't connect to my female characters, it's that the voices of the male characters come easier to me. So when I'm writing the chapters, I really don't have to think at all. I don't have to put any effort at all. It just comes very easily. So for female characters, I have to think about. I think it also have to do with how readers perceive male and female characters, and it's more difficult for female characters. For me, the character that I connect with the most, I think, and that resembles me a lot, is Cole from Ruthless Empire. I feel like I base him basically on many of my personality traits. The way he reads, the way he's silent in public, the way he plots everyone's demise. So we definitely we're sort of similar. And I like him so much. It felt so easy to write him. And I was I remember loving the way Shane interpreted his character so much. It was off the charts good. It's one of my favorite performances by him. And a certain other character that was the villain. I love serial killer Shane. I want to make him more.
Hashtag serial killer Shane. Got it, girls?
Coming soon.
Oh, how funny. Yeah. Well, I think the listeners and the readers always wonder that if the characters are inspired by people in the author's lives, are they adding personality traits of themselves in the characters or of people that they know in the characters? And especially with your style of writing, you have very interesting friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't have many friends, but I have like I'm the type who likes like smaller groups of friends. So my closest friends are no more than 5, and we don't talk all the time. And even if it takes us weeks to talk, I would be like, hey, want to go out? And they're like, sure. It hasn't been like 3 weeks or something, but okay. I'm like, yeah, I just finished a book. I'm good to go. Let's just have fun. So I wouldn't say it's about the people in my life, but more about, I don't know. I feel like I have a very dark mind. It's a problem. I feel like, I don't know. It's not something from more. I do take like inspiration from my life, like some character traits from people who are surrounding me, which go into books, from people that I've watched, from people that I've studied with and worked with. But most of it, many characteristics actually come when the character comes. Like, I don't know, it's in them. Like, hey, I'm an assassin dude. Just write me as an assassin dude who has a very tormented past and who likes to kill people. And I'm like, okay.
But and really,
so it's that easy. Yeah, but I would kill an army for her. So you love me, right? Yeah, I do. Yeah, because if I don't love him, he has guns, and I don't like guns.
Yeah, I know.
In real life.
No, I think and of all the ways that you could be coping with this dark mind of yours, I think you're doing a terrific job as an outlet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of the reasons why I started writing in the first place. Like it
Mhm.
was getting very crowded in there. I was scared I would have like some sort of an issue.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, let's just write those things and
Mhm.
let's get rid of them one by one.
Yeah. Well, I'm finishing up like the last couple of season of Criminal Minds, and I don't think I've yet to have one episode be about the author that just decided not to write about these dark characters and decided to just act them out. So I think you're again doing and handling it rather well.
Yeah, I mean, one day I'm going to write a book about an author and a serial killer. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And they would give each other pointers like, no, you're not supposed to do it like that, babe.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine? I go, no, that's not realistic enough.
Want to try
This is how it's done. Look, watch.
it? Or I would take a video next time for you.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of incriminating research we
Yeah.
have in our browsers
I know.
is
Yeah.
insane. Like how to kill someone without actually killing them.
So something else that I've noticed that happens to authors is that we fall in love with secondary characters that
Oh
are
gosh.
yeah. Oh, you know where this is going. That you were
Okay, go
like,
ahead.
who mentioned? I mean, this guy was mentioned one time, and they just for whatever reason, the listeners and the readers are like, no, but we love him. How
Oh
do you
gosh.
go about keeping track of or having these? I mean, because you get asked by your listeners and readers, I'm sure all the time, is so and so going
All
to
the
get a book,
time.
right? And you're
Yep.
going, he just popped in for one scene. What the fuck? How do you handle those situations and how do you see about fitting them into a writing schedule, or is it depends on how loud they are?
So for me, when I read a book, there are definitely some interesting side characters. And if they appear more than once or even once and the readers want them, then the readers want them.
Mm-hmm.
They won't shut up about it. And they
No.
would absolutely like, hey Rina, you didn't answer my question. And I'm like, guys, I'm not sure. The book just released like today. So let's just no, I like this book, but I'm talking about the other character. So when are you going to give this to us? So I feel very lucky that readers are very interested in my side characters and they find them intriguing. Especially, like I said, because it's usually some psychotic asshole comes out of nowhere and he's like shooting people off, and readers are like, I love him, give him a book. And I'm like, okay guys, let me think about it. So usually it takes me some time if the read if the readers are demanding it. I know that sometimes readers would associate a character with another character that I don't have them in my mind, so I can't write that no matter how much they ask me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, they have a different story than the one they wanted, so I can't write it. But if we're on the same page and the character starts talking to me and he starts getting demanding and being like, hey, readers love me, pay attention to me, pick me. So I have to fit it in my schedule sometime. uh it's also why I released a duet last year, and it got like a spin-off duet in January, and it's going to get a spin-off duet this summer as well. So it's one of the reasons why they came true, because they became interesting enough and they became loud enough that they got their own story. And I usually, when I write a book, usually 2 3 others books pop out on the way. It happens all the time. It's annoying. I mean, I have a friend who sent me a meme last time. She's an author friend, and she sent me this meme where someone was saying, "Oh, thank God I finished writing this book." And then a side character would pop out and said, "Did you really?" They're like, right, me. I'm still waiting. So it's fun. It's fun when that happens because it feels like all my books are connected. So this feels like I'm building a puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's because you've mentioned the characters being these individuals and stuff. I can only imagine having that side character from the back of the line, just a swaggering up to the front and saying, "Hey, Rina."
Pay attention.
Yeah. Hello.
And they would wave and smile like a creep.
Like, hey, you thought you got rid of me. Nah.
And I'm like, here we go again.
And then being the assholes that they are, they're probably going to the other people that are in the characters going, haha, you gotta wait now. My turn. Yeah. No,
Yep.
skipping the line.
It's easier if they have guns though.
He's showing them to you. He's probably like, you remember how you wrote me, right? This is how it is.
Yep.
These are the
And one of them, like currently, I have like this mafia word. It's a proper Russian word, and I wrote like a duet in it. I wrote a trilogy in it, and then there are many other characters who appeared in the duet and in the trilogy, and people are like, when are you going to write them? Guys, they are drug lords and they kill people and they do a lot of shitty things. And they would like, I know that. I'm
I still want to
asking
know.
you, when are you going to write it? Please confirm it. So my readers basically want me to confirm that the book is coming out. They don't care if it's now or next year or whatever, but they just keep telling me, just confirm it, just say the words, just say yes. Because they know if I say that I'm going to write it, then I'm definitely going to write it one day.
Yeah. So that's good news for the listeners. If we know that we can just say, so listen, no pressure. Just confirm or deny that so and so is going to get their own books. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Then we'll walk away after that. Yeah.
And then it's going to happen.
Yes, and they'll patiently wait and fall in love with all of the other anti-heroes that are coming out in between them. So they'll have something to get their attention in the meantime.
Exactly.
The Royal Elite series currently has about 8 audiobooks from what I'm seeing here from Audible. And it's the trope / genre / description. It says a dark high school bully romance.
Yep, it is.
I did not have any kind of high school individuals that look like that growing up. And I'm friends with some, like maybe 1 or 2 people from high school. And so why high school when it came down to these characters? Why, what was it like? Was it a high school thing that came to you at that age? Or was it something that you thought about? Maybe a high school. Did you ever fear about writing them a little younger than stuff like that?
I actually, for this particular series, the characters had to be that young because they had some sort of a childhood things going on, and the fact that they are meeting again in high school setting was kind of, I don't know, I feel like high school senior year, so they're all 18. At that time, they're very volatile and they can be very reckless. And the first hero of that series, Aiden, is the first one who came to me, of course. Is very intense and very dark, and he even tested my own limits. But I loved him for it because for me, if I'm testing my limits, then it's a new challenge and it's a space for growth. So I loved him so much for it, even though I hated him as a character sometimes. I do hate my characters sometimes, like it happens. And the reason why he has to be young is because it's the very volatile age, and there were certain circumstances that had to happen at that age. And it felt, I don't know, it felt normal and natural. That's
Mhm.
how they came for me at first. And Aiden was one of the characters that I had a nightmare about before
Oh,
I wrote. So, interesting story. I actually have nightmares. I have a lot of inspiration from nightmares. I know that my friends would be like, yeah, good for you for getting inspiration, but yikes, nightmares." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I woke up in cold sweat, but I still wrote down that sucker." So it felt
wow.
good. It felt when I had nightmares about cactus, it means that their book is going to be super, super intense. Because I mean, it comes out of a nightmare. It's usually
Mm-hmm.
some blood going on. It's usually some, I don't know, something that I don't think, all the characters that I had nightmares about would fit in the conventional term of a hero. They're usually villains, very, very intense villains too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're writing them, and I get this from readers who also read them, it's like you're suffocating on their energy,
Mm.
and it's very intense. And those are usually the products of nightmares. I will say that I love it. I do love it when I get those types of nightmares. It feels like I'm writing from the bones or something. And I
Mm-hmm.
usually like them the most, but I also hate them the most. So it's always a love hate relationship.
Yeah, like the books you write.
Yep. I mean, we won't go far from that.
Yeah, no, it's again, I think when it comes down to the different genres and, like new adults, very popular. And that when that term came out, Rina, I was so like, new adult. It's like, what are we going to do? Have vintage and antique adults now? When there's nice and new and they're shiny and then life happens, you become vintage. Um, and it's one of those things I'm going, oh my God, like high school bullying. And I'm going, oh no, I was like, I bullying in high school happens even back then in the days and stuff like that. We just hear about it more now because, social media, and again, less taboo subjects happening and open dialogue. But
Mm.
knowing the stuff that you write, and I'm going, I didn't have anybody like that in my life. I should have
Yeah.
when I was in high school. It would have been much more
I mean,
interesting.
well, the bullying is there. Well, it starts with bullying usually.
Mm-hmm.
I like where it's also like a type of enemies to lovers. It's enemies to lovers too. So
Mm-hmm.
like like she's the new girl and you want to make her life hell, but then you find yourself falling for her
Mm-hmm.
and then defending her from all the other bullies. So I like that stage where it changes from I'm going to make your life hell to I'm going to protect you with my life. I love that. It's one of the reasons why I love high school bully romance. And though I'm veering more to the new adult genre more because new adult college uh college age is very interesting. I had a blast writing the last one. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, it feels like very, I don't know, something new and something great and taboo and dark.
Yeah. Very Rena. Yeah.
I mean, no surprise there.
No, no, no. But it's good too. I mean, I think that we all have different types of experiences. And like I said, I've never been in the situation that when it came down to like the high school situation. I mean, we had the assholes and we had the popular kids and the jocks and the things like that. And there were those situations where one minute he is being an asshole to her because of fill in the blank reasons. And then afterwards you saw them around the corner and you're like, why is he being so nice? He was just a dick. And that's because stuff are starting to brew, and you look back on them going, oh, that's like the classic making of a romance novel.
Exactly. It's just enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Now that you've mentioned it that way, and I'm going, yeah, they just, might as well just call it the enemies to lovers. I know that sometimes
Yep.
the bullying, because of all the stuff that happens in real life stuff nowadays, unfortunately, that sometimes will get people away from wanting to read those types of books. But
Mm.
you describing it as this enemies to lovers, really, that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So that's probably how I will start describing things too when it comes down to that genre with your book specifically, because that's how that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really relate real life to the fictional world. I mean,
Mhm.
uh, of course, if I found someone bullied in real life, it would be, I would raise hell for them, no matter who they are. But for me, it's a fictional word. It's escapism for
Mhm.
me. I love like something like this happens and then it changes to like a true love story. And it's very fun. Like in real life too, we don't like killers, we don't like mafia people, but we love reading about them, we love listening to them, we love how they kill an army for her. So, but in real life, that would be a no go. So for me, reality and fiction are very, very separate. Just because I write about some things, it doesn't mean that I condone them. In real life, it's just a form to escape because I know many women and they always email me and they feel like even though they had like sexual assault or things like that, they like reading the dubious scenes because there's a happy ending there and there is
Mhm.
groveling and there is love and they feel comforted in a way. And I don't know. I'm not saying that it's the right thing, but I know that many women like reading about this, and I am uh so I don't know how to say it. I was going to say that I like it when women express what they like
Mhm.
and what they want to read. And as I said, it's just fiction. Real word is real word. Like there are things I would do in fiction that I would beat someone the hell up for in real word. I mean it. Like I was saying this to my assistant the other day. I said, like, if I met my heroes in real life, I would either hit them in the face or run because they have guns.
One of those two things.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the, again, reasons that we love the romance community is we don't shame each other for what we
Yep,
like. And it's,
exactly.
which tends to happen more in the real world. But in the romance
Mm,
community, we're like, oh, okay, do you like this? Great. Now, oh, do you want the baker and the food, community? Great, go over there. And oh, you
mm.
discovered that you actually have a kink. Welcome to the kink
Yep.
world.
Yeah,
Get
I mean
over
it also
here.
happens it also happens from the other genre, like they like to shame us romance
Yes.
readers and authors. And
Yes.
I don't understand it. It's very I don't know. I have very strong opinions about that. I mean, it's something that women enjoy and they feel the need to attack it.
Mhm.
And I want to rear my feminist head and just kick them in the balls.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
it's as simple as
yeah.
that.
Well, it shows their insecurities, and it shows that they are,
Exactly.
they're seeing the romance genre as a potential to outdo themselves in what they think is more better type writing or anything like that. And so the insecurities get shown when they happen like that. And also the fact that it's about expressing oneself, I think that's still very
Yep.
taboo, whether it's emotional
Mm.
expression or sexualized
Sexual.
expression. Yeah.
Yep.
And
I
being
mean,
able to find the words to describe how we feel. I think that romance has really empowered women to have
Exactly.
these dialogues of, well, I like, being submissive and that's okay. I like being dominant and that's okay. I like this and I like that. And discovering this world is empowering of women. And again, with society, that's not usually the case.
Yep.
Yeah. But
I mean, for it's a genre for women
mhm,
by women
mhm,
mostly. I mean, there are male writers,
mhm.
but it's mostly, and there are male readers. I have some.
Yes.
They're so
Yes.
cute,
I
and
love them.
I love them. They're so supportive, and I love them so
Mhm.
much. But it's mostly a genre for women by women, and they feel threatened by that, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't see us going and judging them for liking their fantasy or their sci-fi or whatever they like to read. But
Mhm.
when it's about people expressing, women expressing their desire,
Mhm.
it becomes like a red flag, and I hate that, and I wish it would change in the future.
Mhm. I think we're moving towards that. I mean,
Yep.
as you mentioned, we have a lot more male readers in the community. We also are getting more male authors that are writing in the genre. And
Yep.
there's even now a book club of guys that are reading romance and are having those
Wow.
dialogue. Yeah, there is. I'll share you the link.
That's nice.
It is because it's one of those where you get to have these conversations with them, but they're also seeing how they can improve their own relationships with their significant others. Or even
Mm.
I think in that book club, two of them are married, one is single, and then I think one is dating. And they're saying they've shared how they've had been able to have these conversations with their wives and significant others about anything from the emotional support to the sexual support and the sexual fantasies. And they even learned a trick or two, apparently. So, hey, win win, I say.
Yep. That's nice.
Yeah.
Definitely win-win. I
Yeah.
mean, if they paid more attention to women and what they like to read and what they are telling them indirectly,
Hmm.
then it's definitely a win-win for
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure the women also
Oh
appreciate
gosh,
it.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. No, I've known people have highlighted certain scenes and given it to their partner and said, read, memorize tonight. So again, win-win.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned that you were a lover of audiobooks. And
Yep.
there is a difference though between loving audiobooks and then taking that plunge of having your own titles in
Yeah.
audio. What made you release your titles in audio? Like what was it?
Well, the first reason is because um, I get a bit disappointed and teary eyes when I like a blurb, and when I go to Amazon, I don't find the audio version. I almost
Mhm.
cry
Yeah.
because I know that I'll have to skip it because I don't have time to read anymore. So that's one of the reasons, because I wanted listeners to have audiobooks of my books, because yes, I have a lot of voracious readers and who buy ebooks and paperbacks all the time. But I know that there are people like me, and even people who are legally blind, who can only
Mhm.
listen to audiobooks. So I had to make that plunge, I had to make it happen. And actually, I was checking the other day, and it's been exactly 1 year since I published my first audiobook. Wow.
Nice.
It's now
Wow.
16 going, and we're going on 18. I think it would be like 21 this year. So, yep, winning.
Yes, yes.
So that's one of the main reasons why I started audiobooks, but also mm, because I wanted to have my books in audio and listen to them, and kind of cringe at the beginning. But then I got engrossed in the performances so much that I love it. Now I love the proofing process so much. It's one of
Mhm.
my favorites, along
Yeah.
with casting.
Well, that was gonna be my next question is like, how do you go? What is your process for casting your titles?
Okay, so at the beginning, I had the books written and I just cast according to the character. So my first duet that I got into audio was The Lies and Truths duet, narrated by Wen Ross and Guy Kennicott. And
Hmm.
Wen Ross was a great voice for the main character, Asha, a bit deep and gritty. So that was that. And then the Royal Elite series already had, I think, 3 books out. And of course, I went to, I think, Oral Fixation and asked them, hey guys, who are your favorite British narrators? And everyone was like, Shane East, Shane East, Shane East. And I was like, okay, you got it. And I worked with Shane and Kara Stevens on that series. The first 3 books were recorded after I wrote the books. But after that point, from that 4th book onward, I started imagining Shane's and Kira's voices in my head while I wrote. And that was so easier to do. Like, it became part of my process now. Now I have to have the cover model and I have to have my narrators before I start writing. So I would be having like Shane's voice in my head and the cover model sitting snugly there on the other screen and giving me inspiration and like write my book. And it's very easier to write books with audio in mind
Hmm.
because now I became to write them exclusively with audio in mind,
Hmm.
not many tags, a lot of dialogue, and to let them like, you know, they feel like free to have a lot of dialogues and not so much narration that would interrupt it.
Hmm.
Ever since then, it's became very great. And usually I cast according to the character's voice. Like when someone is growly, like Adrian from the Deception trilogy, it had to be Jason Clarke. I mean, it's a given. And
Duh.
exactly. And when someone is British, I usually have Shane's voice in my head. I don't know why. I worked with Shane on a lot of my titles, maybe like, I don't know, 12, I think. I think 12.
Hmm.
So Shane is the British voice in my head, but I do plan to work with other British narrators. We cast someone, and I'm very excited to work with him. And that's the process of casting for me.
Hmm.
And then when I'm happy, like, oh, yes, I have the narrators I want, then I just start writing with their voices in my head.
I think a lot of the authors are in a similar boat when it comes down to once they've discovered that they're in love with the audio process, that they end up
Yep.
listening to the characters and stuff like that. Have you listened to audiobooks that are, because you said that you listen to them that are not in the romance genre, and ever had a narrator kind of capture you and go, "Ooh, he sounds like a potential character," or not yet?
It happened once. It happened once. Um, it was also British
Mm-hmm.
narrator. I mean, and I read a lot of British characters, so that that
Works
can
out.
be very handy. I don't know, but he'll probably has to do it. I spoke to a few before, and they'll probably has to do it under a pseudo
Mm-hmm.
because because their work is nonfiction, right? So you
Yeah.
don't want to mix romance with nonfiction. And I'm like, yeah, okay, people are going to fall in love with your performance and you're going to make it in the romance genre. I do plan to bring some names that I definitely enjoyed listening to.
Nice.
Um, doing, yeah, just
That
look
just means
forward
more
to
narrators for us to love. So it's like, yes.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I love many of the narrators.
Hmm.
I have a lot of favorites.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you for those. So don't worry. I'm not that
Don't.
mean.
I'm not going to choose.
No, that's when you come back the next time. This is your first one. I'm not going to put you in that situation.
Okay. I got away with it.
Yeah. I'm being nice. No. So knowing that you are working from 8 a.m. until midnight, when you're not working and you're done with your book, what do you do for fun?
Fun. What is that?
Don't let me look that up for you.
Okay, so fun. I don't know. I feel I'm a very workaholic person, and I'm very quiet in real life. Like I'm the type who is like who likes quiet places and quiet villages. Even when we go like on a touristic trip and we go to another country, people would be all over the capital and the city, and I would be dying to go like to some islands or some villages. So I love quiet places a lot. So for me, basically, uh, my fun is if I'm not binge watching something on Netflix or listening to an audiobook, I would like go out with my friends. We would go to some brunches, we would have breakfast, we would go to, I don't know, something that it's not very loud, you know. I don't like going to clubs or things like that. They drain my energy. Any place that's full of people drains my energy. So anything that has to do with the restaurants, plays, cinema, something that's I don't know, quiet and fulfilling. And when you go home, you feel like you're a person, not that you not that you became a ghost because people drained your energy.
Yeah, a zombie, and you're going, oh, good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, since you brought up Netflix and binging, and I'm always constantly looking for new shows, because I also binge watch. What have you been watching lately?
Oh gosh, lately. I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder.
Sorry. It's on my list, but okay.
I mean, what do you expect, Viviana? I'll be watching some cooking show.
No, that's too much sugar.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, so it's How to Get Away with Murder, like my latest one. And I also watch a lot of thriller type um, Asian movies. I also watch I also watch like serial killers documentaries, no surprise there. And I don't know. I like things that has to do with thrillers and stuff. But I also like period drama. I'm a very old soul like that. I love period dramas. I love anything old and gold, and it just makes me all fuzzy inside. So if you want something that's not serial killer-ish, it's probably something period.
Period murder mysteries or period romance like Bridgerton or Pride and Prejudice or
well,
again.
Pride and Prejudice is one of my faves. I love it. I don't ever get tired of it. And Bridgerton also, I watched it was fun. And what else? But also like period serial killers. I'm all good.
Okay, well, I have a very important question. Pride and Prejudice, the BBC older one with Colin Farrell, excuse me, or the 2005 movie with Matthew McFadden and Keira Knightley?
BBC. I'm just going to go with BBC.
Okay.
It's longer, and Colin is okay. He's like my childhood sweetheart, but he doesn't know. So yeah, I mean, when I was like a teen, Colin Farrell was like my ultimate bias. He and Denzel Washington, and I had a crush on them. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Sue
I
me.
get it. I, no,
I
no, no,
love them.
I get it. There's always like these two like train of thoughts or camps as far as when it comes down to the Pride and Prejudice, and there's always going to be the one that busts out with Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Oh,
You
oh,
know?
no,
And
no,
I'm like, no, no,
no.
no, purist over here. It has to be one of
Oh,
the two. Yeah, purist.
yeah,
From that perspective on that one
BBC.
specifically. Yeah. See, I'm the 2005 Matthew McFadden girl, so it's okay. I'll watch
Okay.
the other one when it comes on, so it's not like I discriminate,
Mhm.
but yeah.
I mean, the other day I actually rewatched the 2005 version.
See?
I mean, I love that, and I love you. That part gets to me every fucking time. I swear.
Oh,
Going
yeah.
to melt here, so
Hmm.
don't mind.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine tell me that he has never watched Pride and Prejudice, and I really thought, I'm like, I don't know if we can be friends anymore. I'm like, how
Yeah,
have you
it's
not? But he's really nice, and I do love and adore him, so he's lucky that we're still friends.
but it's a deal breaker.
Yeah, well,
It's Pride and Prejudice,
but
man.
so
It's
now it's become a challenge. Now it's like I have to get him to watch it and how to go about that.
okay, but have you watched the 1945 version or 44? I'm not sure when exactly.
No, I have not, but I'm adding it to
Oh
my list.
gosh, yes, do watch it. It's a bit fun.
Mhm.
It's black and white. I mean,
It's
because
okay.
I watched all the versions and I watched the spin-offs and I was like, give me what's next. And this one popped up and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, let's do
Yeah.
this. And it actually was nice. It was great.
That's good. Yeah. So yeah, it's now a challenge for that friend of mine. So I'm gonna be like, he's gonna watch it. It's gonna come out of left field, but that's a challenge. And I'm like, accept
Oh gosh.
it. I'll keep you
This is me.
posted.
Yep. This is me with my friends when I love something because I have a very picky taste. So I don't
Mhm.
like a lot of things.
Mhm.
So the other day I watch a bit of anime.
Mm.
I love anime.
Mhm.
So I was watching this was like years ago. I watched the first season of Shingeki no Kyojin, which is Attack on Titans in English.
Mhm.
So I watched the first season and it's about titans and it's about like giants and like they're destroying a wall and ending humanity and things like that. So I was telling this to my friends. So I have like two best male friends, and we were like sitting, and I was like telling them this enthusiastically, and they were like, Titans? What are you watching? Do you have nothing to do with your life?" And I'm like, okay, I feel that's very rude. I feel attacked right now.
Yeah.
But okay, I told them, okay, watch the first episode. Just one. It's 25 episodes per season, and one episode is like 20 minutes.
Mhm.
So just watch one and let me know. So I wake up the next morning with them both messaging me, hey, when is the next season coming?
You're like victory.
And I'm like, I told you so. And now they're just addicted and we're all addicted and they try to spoil me, but I killed them in their sleep. So
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's the same thing like with the books and the audiobooks that we do that sometimes. We're like, no, I don't ever read that genre. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have
Yep.
to listen to this. And then they fall in love with it and they're
Exactly.
like, when's the next one? I'm like, well, I thought you didn't like that genre. Because I'm that friend too that will bust out that way. I'm like, well, I thought you said you didn't like it. Well, now tough.
Oh gosh, this happens a lot in my books because they're dark.
Yeah.
And okay, so I worked with Shanice and Jason Clark, and I'm going to work with the ones that are currently announced are with Teddy Hamilton and Rose Dioro and Jacob Morgan, and well, I don't think they do a lot of dark stuff. So when the fans of those narrators come to listen to my books, and then they're like, oh my gosh, this is awful, I love it, when is the next book coming? And then like, I didn't think I would like this, but I love it, thank you.
Yeah.
So like, okay, welcome to the dark side, my friend. You just opened another different portal.
Yes. I think when I posted, because I have not announced yet the lineup for the series for this June coming up, and because usually I do it at the beginning of May, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk to Rina, so I want to get people. I love including people in a part of our conversations with their questions, and I posted in Jason's group that I was going to talk to you and have people submit the questions. And I had 2 people bust out with like, whoa, wait, she has a reader group? And I'm like, yes, she does. Here's the link. Come to the docs. I mean, come over.
I mean, yep. I mean, literally in my reader group, it says, you found the dark side. Welcome.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to get out of here alive.
Yeah.
So,
but you're going to love it.
Yep. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So if you could have any animal as a pet, because I find this question fascinating, what would it be and why?
A tiger,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Or a panther.
Mm-hmm.
Black panther, like my soul. It would be very beautiful.
That's
I settle for cats. I settle for cats because I can actually raise them. But yeah, panthers and tigers, love them. I love big cats.
Yeah, they're so cute. I always tell you're like, oh, I want a panther, because I'm also the black dark panther girl, and they're like, you do know they could eat you. I'm like, no, they won't.
No, if you keep them fed, they won't eat you.
And you tell them, you show them who's
Viviana.
Boss. I know.
Said Viviana before she was eating.
Yeah, right. No, it's okay. I have my quote unquote panther cats and stuff like that in, as far as the ones running around the house that are tiny. And sometimes I swear they're big characters, but yeah, no, it's as far as I go. But again, it's a great question. I think it's always like what kind of animal. People have said anything from tigers to pandas. I think I'm waiting for someone to bust out with a sloth, and so I have an idea who might bust out with that one. But it's like we'll see. It's okay.
Oh gosh, we'll tag me when that happens.
I will. It's like I found one. What's your favorite word?
Oh gosh, I think I have a favorite word. Actually, it's not going to be an English word. It's a Japanese word. I love saying baka, like idiot. Such an idiot. I love it so much.
Yeah, but that's why.
And I say this to my brother all the time.
You're such a baka.
Baka, baka jani desu ka? I would say this, and he would be like, "Okay, stop talking in a language I don't understand. Are you swearing at me?"
Yeah, there's a couple of those in Spanish, and I'm like, "Oh, pendejo," and they're like, "What?" Like, nothing. Don't worry about it.
Oh, this definitely helps when you speak a lot of languages. You can call people names, and they really catch on it, especially when you're using like a sweet tone, but you're calling someone an idiot.
Yes,
definitely great.
Well, if that's your favorite word, what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, curse word, definitely vafalcuno. It's in Italian. Basically,
yeah.
It's fuck off. I mean, even the languages I don't speak, I have favorite words from them, and they're all curse words.
Yeah.
Like in German, I think I'm mispronouncing this, but it's the piste or something like that. It's piss off also. Fuck off, piss off. I love those.
Yeah. I think it's definitely something that I realize a lot of people tend to learn the bad words of any language first. Because I know how to tell you off in sign language. It's one of from like, how do you say fuck you or bitch? And I was like in 8th grade, I was like getting all these curse words on how to say in sign language, and I'm like, yes. But yeah,
and there's something new.
Yeah, I'm a learner. That's what I do. Like, what's the curse word to this? Yeah, but that's the other thing too. We have it in the English dialogue. We have these specific words, and they're still great as a curse word. But in the other languages, especially the Romance languages, oh, the way they can tell people off at various degrees.
Oh gosh, I mean, I had a sentence. I think I made Shane do it. Well, it says like, "Hey, motherfucker, fuck the fuck off." And leave me the fuck alone or something like that. Or like, I think it was something along those lines, and I laughed so hard when I listened to it in audio. I mean,
Yeah,
It's very satisfying.
it is, and they add these little, like these emphasis into it, like just fuck off, like when they do it on
Exactly.
the F or they have it on the K, like a Joe Arden extended U in the fuck.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Mhm,
Definitely. I love it. There are many narrators that I love, especially when there is in the middle of a scene or at the end, or
mhm,
especially at the beginning when there is just a fuck. And
mhm,
the way they say it, like the
mhm,
way they just say it or emphasize it,
mhm.
it's very satisfying to
Yeah,
hear.
it is. Yes, because when you're reading it, you can imagine it, but when you hear it, it's like,
Yeah,
fuck. I'm like, yes, that's exactly how I heard it in my head.
exactly. Yeah, I love those moments.
Yeah.
It happens in audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh gosh, this is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the cat was telling me when I was writing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see it come to life.
Yeah. As a fellow introvert, I know this happens, but what song do you have to sing along when it comes on and it doesn't really matter anywhere? You're either mentally singing along with it because public, or you're in the car and you're just blasting it. What song is that for you?
Mm. It has to be one song because anything by Coldplay, I don't care about people when they come on. Like they're my favorite band, and if
Mm-hmm.
it comes in a public place, and even if there are people, I'll be singing, and I'm like, "What are you looking at? Don't you know Coldplay?"
Love
So
that.
anything by Coldplay,
Okay.
it's one of my most important things to do is to see them live, but COVID happened.
Yeah.
So let's hope that's in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely love them so much. And any rock music, basically, when it's loud and fun,
Mm-hmm.
I would blast it in the car, especially in the highway, and I would sing along. People would think I'm insane, but it happens.
Oh yeah. You won't be the only one. That's. And I know that we will not be the only two. So I've seen it all the time and it's like, ooh, they're really grooving. And I love that to see people in the
Yeah,
cars, jumping around and stuff like that, or they're really grooving. I'm like, it could be a Celine
I
Dion
love it.
song, I don't care, or it could be a Metallica song, and they're like just like they're like having
Yeah,
fun in the moment. I'm like, well, that's one way to spend your red light time.
exactly.
That's good. So we have reached a new segment that we have with our guest because it's a game section, real quick. It's called Two Truths
Hmm.
and a Lie. It's where you, our
Okay.
guest, tell us listeners three things about yourself, of which two are true and one is a lie, and we need to figure out which one's the lie. And I like to say we because I really hope y'all are playing along with me if you're listening.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're ready, you can tell us your three
Okay.
things, and then we'll try to figure out.
Okay. Mm. So let's say I studied psychology. I played volleyball in high school. And the third, I worked in a morgue.
Oh wow, man. And I say man because it's like who at one point or another may not have worked in a mall, and then volleyball, like, yeah, maybe
It's
potentially.
not a mall, it's a morgue. Morgue.
Oh,
A morgue.
morgue.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that's different.
Okay.
That's different. Not everybody has worked in a morgue before.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going, ooh, psychology or morgue. One of those two must be a lie. But at the same time, you never know. With how you are, that would explain a lot. But I'm going to go with worked in a morgue as a lie.
Mm, I don't know. Does it count half a lie? Because I did intern there, but I didn't actually work there. So I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't think that's the lie.
That's not the lie then. No, technically it's technicalities are all sports.
Technically, I did.
But you
I did
did, yeah.
spend a few months there.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. So between psychology and volleyball. You do love psychology, but I don't know if you actually studied it So I'm going to go with psychology being a lie then.
Yep. I didn't
Aha.
study psychology. Well, except for the classes that we had, but I didn't study it. Like I didn't specialize in psychology, but we had classes of psychology and when we were in college. But I didn't really study it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, it would make total sense that you would have based on your love of the psychology. But at the same time, I'm going, that's probably not something that she would have, back when she was in school, thought that she would have such a passion for, is what I was kind of thinking. You know?
No, not really. Even before, when I was in school, I did love the things that were on edge. Like I love serial killers ever since I was like a teen. It's like a passion of mine to delve into the darker side of humanity, like to see what they're capable of. It makes me feel great. But I didn't especially study it because I didn't feel like psychology would be something that I want to pursue. Just like I didn't know like writing was something like I wanted to pursue. I went in a completely different field. I was in the medical field before, so it's completely different from where I am right now. But psychology for me is something that's not studied. It's a passion. I love it so much.
Yeah. And that's definitely sometimes where when people's like, when they're good at something or they have a passion for something, they always get the, oh, you should really work with that. And people will say no, because then it becomes a job and it's no longer fun.
Yep.
So I can.
Yeah, well, exactly. It does happen, but writing was also a hobby, but it's now a job and it's a very fulfilling one. I feel lucky that I am having the job that is also something that I love. So it's very lucky.
Yeah. They call those careers. For some reason, I distinguish like working in a morgue, working at the mall, something like when you're starting off and you're still trying to figure out what you want to do when you grow up. More like that's the job. And then when you're like, oh, that's my career, it's like there's a different tone to it. It's almost like that's where they want to be, whether it's underwater basket weaving or, firefighters, police officers, or whatever their careers are. And that's inclusive of writing. I think that it's a passion, and that means that they love to do it. Otherwise, it's not an easy gig. Writing is not easy. There's so much to it. So
yeah, I mean, I had to give up on my PhD to pursue writing full time. So I took it seriously because it's now, yes, it's my career, but it's at the same time something that I love doing. While I did love the field that I was in before, the medical research and things like that, it was fun, but I had to deal with people all the time. And I'm not good at dealing with people. So I figured, yeah, I can be like the crazy writer who's all alone in his office and just like, telling people stories and listening to voices. It's much more fulfilling. And on the bright side, I don't have to deal with people. All the people that I deal with, like my assistants, my publicists, my narrators, my producers are all online. And it's a much more safer thing for me. So I love it.
Cool. Yeah, great. So you played volleyball in high school.
Yep, I did. It was a very, very nice period of my life. It was nice. I mean, I'm not a good person with groups. I don't play nice. But that time it was very nice. I mean, we had a great group of girls right then. They were my friends. Some of them too actually are doing it professionally now.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I never thought of it as something to go professional with because for me it was just a hobby. Well, like writing was a hobby, but for me I loved science too much to give up on it that early. But now I'm fine with giving up on it. I'm fine with actually turning the page on the academic days of my life to start the writing journey.
Nice. Yeah. Again, we are human beings and we're constantly evolving, growing, and discovering new passions. And when it comes down to a lot of the the jobs and careers in the creative field, that's not something that they talk to us about in high school, when the conversation about what do you want to be when you grow up, what do you want to do when you go to college, things like being a
Exactly.
writer, a narrator, a graphic designer, a photographer that helps take these photos that you're using was never
Mm,
part of the I'm like, I could take photos of the
exactly.
hot guys. Fuck. You know?
Yeah, it never comes up. Like,
Yeah.
when I realized that my methodical side is not as important as my creative side, it didn't take me long to decide that I wanted to pursue writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I said, I have a very imaginative mind, and that needs a venting outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm working on my academics, I don't actually have the time to write.
Yeah.
So, so I had to give up one of the two. And then one of my series did well, and I was like, God, this is a sign. And 2 months later, it's been it's been like, I think, 1 year and a half now since I became a full-time writer.
Yay.
And I'm very lucky.
And we all like hoo-hoo for that.
Yep.
Yeah. So Rena, before we go, can you tell us what you're either currently working on that you can share, or what's coming out next for you? Because we all want to know.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay, so
also a reminder that this is actually going to be broadcast in June. So
yeah, in June.
mhm.
So by this time, the third book of my trilogy will be released. It's narrated by Jason Clark and Desiree Ketchum. Desiree wasn't my first choice for this, but I'm so happy that she is the one, because she brought the emotions to a new levels. I love her so much, and I love working with her, and Jason, of course. And the next book, it will release around June, so around this podcast, when this podcast releases, will be the Thorns Duet, Red Thorns and Black Thorns. I usually have simultaneous audiobook releases, and this one will be narrated by Teddy Hamilton and Rose Dioro, and will also feature Jacob Morgan. And for the rest of the year, it's just going to be a spanking new series that I'm super excited about. More info to come soon.
Yay. Cool. I love Teddy, and Desiree has been new to me. But I've been devouring her book. She's so good. So I was like happy when I saw it.
Desiree
Yeah, she's awesome.
Desiree is
Love
fantastic.
it.
I
Yeah.
loved working with her. She's super professional and super accommodating. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
had the books last second, and she did a fantastic job for someone who didn't have so much time to prep.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved her so much. I feel like we don't appreciate many of the female narrators as they should.
Yeah.
But I love female narrators that I've worked with. I also love Vanessa Edwin so much.
Oh, she's
She
awesome.
was actually someone Shane suggested. I was like, hey Shane, what do you think? And he suggested like Vanessa, and I was like, okay, because if a male narrator suggests a female narrator, it's because they feel more comfortable imagining their voices because they worked with them so much. So I listen when they suggest narrators.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered Vanessa then, shame on me. I never listened to any of her work before. So shame on me again. But now I'm in love with her, and I will work with her on so many stuff in the future.
Yeah. Well, there's no shame, because it's one of those, she's technically relatively newer on the romance side of things. And again, I didn't know of her either until she was cast in a book that I was working on. And Shane also was the one that recommended her, and we totally fell in love with her. She has such a variety of tones in her voice, and it's so
Yep.
smooth, sexy, and soothing, and just like you just want to hug her. Um,
Yeah, she has the best accents I've
yes.
ever heard.
Yes, she's
from a
really great.
female narrator,
Yeah.
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tested her and Shane in that duet so much. Like I had the Russian Bratva, and we had Japanese characters and Italian characters and Chinese ones, and they all had accents, and she did them all so well. Shane too, of course. He's
Yeah, he's the
Shane.
professional.
Shane, oh my God. Shane, I had him do an Irish accent and for a 5 years old boy. And oh my God, that was a blast. And I was like, okay, even me, when I was writing that scene, I started talking in an Irish accent at home. So excuse me. It's not like I did it on purpose. It just happens. I wanted Irish accent, sue me.
Mhm.
And he did it so well. And so did Vanessa. Like in that duet, there were so many accents and they did them so great. I love their performances.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when they do such a great job, we end up following them, and that's where I always say that we're narrator motivated.
Yep.
And it's the way that we've discovered new authors, but even because we're narrator motivated by one narrator who then works for somebody else, and now we're like, ooh, new narrator, yay. And
Yep.
we fall in love and we start following them, and it's just this lovely circle of love,
Exactly.
you know. That is just the audiobook world is just again part of the community, and it's so awesome. So I am,
Exactly.
yeah, grateful
I
for
mean,
it.
I also discovered new narrators that I didn't know about, like Kayla
Hmm.
Stevens, like Vanessa, like Desiree. I never listened to her before. And almost all of my female narrators, also Rose Dioro, like all of my female narrators are narrators that I didn't really listen to before.
Hmm.
But after I listened to them, I'm like, okay, I'll be like to my producer, let's put them on the list of the people that I'm going to work with in the future. So definitely,
Yeah.
it's very satisfying.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that list. When I'm working with a new client, it's like wish list, and then definitely working with them again, wish, after they fall in love with them, and it's like, I told you.
Yep. I do have like my main list, like it's usually like the people that I will definitely work with in the future, even if I have to bribe someone. But but I also have like I don't know, like a variable list. Sometimes when we're on a tight schedule, I'll
Yeah.
be I'll talk to my producer and like we're on a tight schedule, give me the names of the people that are available this time. And she'd be like giving me this name and that name, and I would listen to them and I would love them and I would just use them without thought. So it's
Hmm.
part of the casting process, which I
Hmm.
love so much.
It's fun. I love that part,
Yep.
especially when you get to hear the voices and you're like, oh my god, they that's it.
Exactly. And also when the final files land in my Dropbox and I'm like, oh my God, it's Christmas.
Hmm.
I'm going to listen to this audiobook and it's so much fun. But it's not very fun because I also write my books like 3 to 4 months before their release. So oh my God, I feel like I can't share this. I didn't even share the project, let alone the narrator. So I can't share
Oh.
this yet. What a bummer.
Yeah, that's where you have that inner circle.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
here's the NDA. I love you and I
Yeah, I
trust
have
you, but
that.
sign it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have like my inner circle. I have my
Yeah,
publicist.
yeah.
She's such a darling.
I
And
love
she
her.
just recently got into audiobooks.
Hmm.
And she's very in love with Connor Craze's voice.
Yes,
And
that's my
she's like,
fault. I'm sorry.
and every day, I swear to God, Viviana, every day Shen would tell me, every other day she'll be, did you write a book for Connor yet? Make him say fuck a lot.
Oh my.
Oh
She's
my God,
going
she's
to
so,
die when this airs. She's going to die.
Jen, this is for you. Connor will come to your ears soon.
Soon, yes. In the
And like,
meantime.
And I and she's like, oh my god, yes, please cast Connor for
Mhm.
one of your books. I mean, she's like, Rina, you have a lot of books. Why isn't Connor on one of them? And I'm like, oh, I didn't really imagine his voice while writing this. So she's like, imagine his voice. What are you waiting for? Oh my gosh,
He's
she's going to
okay. No,
fight
I'm just
me.
kidding. Yeah, I know she's going to kill you.
Uh,
You know,
yeah, I
I
do. I
love
have.
her. I love her. She is so
She's
good.
amazing.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
She's.
Yeah, but it is
I
my
am.
fault.
I'm
That whole
lucky.
Connor thing. Yeah, that's my
She
fault.
told me it's yours and Kaylee's fault.
Yes, yes.
Kaylee, if you're listening, stop it.
And that's just you egging her on, so she's going to continue. Just so you know, so that's Kaylee
Yeah,
too.
she's
That's how
definitely
she
going.
is.
I did give her good news though. I said, maybe we're going to get Connor, maybe. And she was like, hey, don't play with my feelings.
Feelings. He does
Yeah,
do.
I do have like,
Yeah. Go ahead.
he
Sorry.
does. Yep, no, go on.
I was gonna say he does do a very good Irish accent.
Oh gosh, now I have to write in Irish.
I'm just saying.
It's okay.
It doesn't have no, he is one that does a really good, general voice and stuff like that. But he is it's definitely known that his Irish is one of those swoon-worthy moments and stuff like that.
Well, I do have the mafia word,
See.
an Irish clan. So
See?
you never know.
You never know. So we'll keep checking in on you, and I know the Connor's cuties will be like, so Rina.
You never know.
Yeah.
Dark Connor is coming your way soon.
Yeah, I will probably
We'll
hear Jen's piercing scream on my DM when that happens.
Yeah, I mean it's Jen and a few of my other betas who love audio, and I actually take their word for it. And they're like, you should cast Jason, you should cast Teddy, you should cast Jacob, and my producer too. So I listen to them a lot, and because I mean it's the audiobook word, and sharing is caring.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
I'm happy. I'm happy to bring them to your ears.
Gee darn. Such a sacrifice. Can you hear it in my tone?
Oh my gosh. It's not like I listen to them first before everyone or something.
I know, right? You have such a difficult job. Whatever will you do?
Oh gosh. Oh, it's going to be fun.
Yes. And I cannot wait for your office romance too. That's going to be fun too.
Oh, there are so many good names in that because each book will have a different narrator.
That's awesome.
We casted for 2 books and we still have one to go. And I'm excited.
Yeah, so am I. And I know everybody else will too as soon as they hear this. So that's good. Because, we love you. So like, okay, whatever she writes, we'll listen to or read. That's fine.
Yeah, we will see.
Well, thank you, Rina, for being my guest for this year's Audiobook Lovin Series and letting me be your first.
Oh gosh, thank you. Thank you for popping my cherry as gently as possible.
This time around, we'll do other things later on.
Yep. Yeah, next time, don't ask me for my favorite narrators. I'm not going to answer that.
But there's other ways to find that out, so don't worry about it.
Oh gosh, okay. She's going to call me out.
There are other ways. I'm creative that way. I'm also resourceful, so we're good.
Okay. As long as you don't see the skeletons in my closet.
No,
yep. The bodies.
Yep, exactly. No worries. No, that stuff gets edited out. No worries.
Okay.
Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us today. And we hope you've enjoyed this interview as well as the series. And until next time, happy listenings. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Audiobook Lovin podcast has special Patreon incentives. Join today to receive early access to podcast episodes, exclusive content with our guests, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobooklovin. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Series, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. We hope you have enjoyed this episode as well as the series. We've included audio samples of our guests' work within the post for you to check out. please make sure to visit the main page, link within the post, to learn more about the series, the authors, and the narrators. Please consider leaving a review wherever you listen to this series if you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe to the Viviana, Enchantress of Books newsletter. Until next time, happy listening. Audiobook Lovin hopes you've enjoyed this program.